Is this the final stretch? Man, I hope so. Hello everyone and welcome to the garage. Today it's back to the Yamaha. Hopefully in this episode we are going to more or less finish this thing off mechanically, and by that I mean fix it, not like destroy it or something. As near as I can tell, the only thing this thing really has left is a slipping clutch. And there's a lot of stuff that could be contributing to that. I have adjusted the clutch cable correctly. You want it to have just a few millimeters of free play when the clutch lever is out. It has that, but it still slips really bad when you try to ride this. So I'm assuming that the clutch material is worn out, stuff like that. Now I have watched Musty One's excellent series. I sat down with some popcorn and spent most of my weekend watching his series of videos restoring a bike very similar to this. His actually had the same strange engine noise that mine does, and he didn't seem concerned about it, so I guess it must just be a weird idiosyncrasy of these bikes. Not sure. But it looks like getting the clutch out is really straightforward, so I'm just going to go for it. Mine, unlike his, has these big Phillips screws, but they're probably actually a Japanese industrial standard. So I've got my JIS screwdriver here, and I put a 1/4 inch ratchet on it for extra leverage, so I can push with one hand and twist with the other. Make very sure that I'm not going to strip them. We're just going to take this right hand cover off and figure out what parts I need to buy. I'm going to check the friction plates themselves for wear. I'm going to measure them, see what we're dealing with, see if the pressure plates between them are they called pressure plates? The metal plates. See if they're all glazed over or anything like that, and just try and figure out what we're dealing with. Oh, and the springs. I'm sure the springs are bad too. It's probably going to end up being about $120 worth of stuff. So I'll buy all that stuff once we figure out what I need, get a new gasket, and put it back together in like a week or two, but it'll still be in this video. So here we go. This is actually a lot more interesting than I thought it was. First of all, this gasket came off all in one piece. It didn't tear, which tells me that this has been in, someone's been in here fairly recently, which means that whatever's wrong with his bike is probably someone's fault. Secondly, look at that. That is some nasty goop. It's not like, I'm not sure if it's RTV. I think it might actually be clutch trash. I'm not quite sure, but it probably isn't good at any rate. The mystery of my sticking Kickstarter has already been solved here. If I just stick this lever on here real quick. When you kick the Kickstarter, you see that gear pop out? It's kind of hard to see. You can see it come out and mesh with the gear next to it. Now all those teeth have little ramps on them so that it meshes, but some of these gears are chipped, and so they've just got a flat face, which means that it's not letting these two gears mesh, which is why it works if I put the bike in gear and kind of roll it forward or back a little bit to turn the crankshaft and make it so that these mesh again. I could solve that by replacing this gear here, but since I know it's not really a huge issue, I'm probably just going to leave it as is. This whole spring-a-thing assembly looks like a bit of a pain. Also interesting, there was no fluid in here, even though I did fill it with oil. There is oil leaking out of somewhere on the other side of the bike though, so that's fun. I guess this goes back into the transmission or something, so maybe the output shaft seal needs replaced. I'll have to look into that, but let's let's see here. The clutch, as far as the clutch goes, you can see what happens when I pull it. It moves that plate in and out. And then you can see the, I'm not sure, right there on the other side you can see the clutch lever moving. And when I have the lever all the way out, there is a little bit of play in the lever there. There's no tension on it. So yeah, it's slipping with the clutch all the way out. So alright, so let's just try and talk through what we're looking at here. This is the clutch stack here. It's composed of 5 friction plates and 5 of these metal plates. The friction plates grab the basket with these tongs, so these spin with the basket. And then these metal ones spin with the inside part, which I believe is the output. So torque comes in, pushing on these, and these are connected to the output. So when there's nothing clamping these together, the inside and the outside can rotate, you know, between each other. And then when the clutch is let out, and those springs push everything together, that's what makes the bike move forward. Wait, am I missing a disc here? These plates look overall pretty decent. They've got a you can see that dotted pattern in them, that's still intact. They don't look, yeah, you can see there's been a little bit of transfer of material onto it. So I'll probably, ooh, yeah, I'll need to go over these with a Scotch-Brite pad. These, in Musty One's video, he came to the conclusion that these had something to do with cold starting. Interestingly enough, the rubber is still really nice and pliable. He didn't put these back in his bike, and I don't think I'll put mine in either, mostly for just ease of reinstallation, aka laziness. They do appear to be some sort of damper, though. They've got a bit of a C-shaped cross-section, which lets them kind of squish together. Kind of interesting. Don't think I'll be using it. So let me get the rest of these metal plates out of here. Yeah, look at that. There's all kinds of gunk that's been transferred over onto those. Yeah. But otherwise, I think those are okay. So I don't think I'll need to order any more of these metal plates, but boy howdy, these friction plates, there is nothing left. So This is almost completely smooth. These pads here are supposed to stand proud like a millimeter or so, and there is just no depth to any of these. Okay, we're gonna do some measurement here on one of these. I'm unfortunately gonna be getting my calipers all oily, but oh well. So in between, okay, we've got 3.74 millimeters between the ridges, 4.0 in the ridges. So it's like 0.2 mil of depth there. I don't know if I can even get a reading with the depth part. 0.17 millimeter deep. Yeah, that's pretty trashed. I also need to take a look at that output shaft seal and see what it takes to replace that, and probably buy a new one of those. And then this thing is getting pretty close to done here. This was a lot easier than I expected it, actually. So I will be right back, and when you see me next, I'll have shiny new parts. Well, parts have arrived. Here is one of my new clutch discs. You can see there is as you can see, there's a significantly larger amount of friction materials on these versus the old ones. Kind of hard to tell, but there it is, I guess. Unfortunately, I can't put the bike in just yet for two reasons. One of them is I need to pre-soak them in oil. I actually don't know why that is, but apparently it's a thing that you do. So I'm just gonna fill the bag. They came in with some oil, squish it around, put them in there, let that sit for a while. The other reason is I ordered the wrong parts. I ordered an output shaft seal. Turns out what's actually leaking is the shift seal. So I'm gonna order one of those. I'm also gonna order a different throttle cable. This throttle cable, the throttle cable splits in two, and the second part is supposed to go to the oiling pump, and this one has a shaft with, like, it looks like it's supposed to be retained with a C-clip. Mine uses threads to hold this shaft into the cover to run the oil pump, and I do kind of want to see if that pump works or not, so I think I'm just going to order, I'm going to try and find the correct throttle cable as well. So I'm going to order both of those parts. So for now, there's not really anything that I can do at all. As you can see, I've got the bike laying on its side, supported by jack stands so that nothing breaks, just because this means I don't have to squat down quite as much, and you know, I'm old. How did my key fall down in there? Okay. And then there we have the clutch plates marinating in some wet clutch safe oil. So I'll let those sit for a little while, 24 hours I guess, and we will put these in the bike tomorrow, because I can still assemble this half of the engine with what I've got. I mean, the cable can happen later, and the seal is on the other side, so I can get this wrapped up tomorrow and maybe throw some tubes on it. And honestly, I can just ride the thing and see how it does without having, you know, it'll leak a bit, and I'll have to pre-mix, but it should run, so, and ride. And that's the important part. I also got these replacement clutch springs, but if you put one of them next to one of the old ones, the free length sure is different. These are for a 70s DT175, but that's a significant difference there. I hope that doesn't make the clutch lever obnoxiously heavy or anything like that. Okay, well, the new friction discs have had a hot minute to soak, and I went ahead and cleaned up the, whatever you call these plates, with some Scotch-Brite and some 140 grit sandpaper, so they're a little bit roughed up, should be a little bit more grabby maybe, and I got all that friction material off there, so I guess it's time now to reassemble the clutch. Just like that, we're all back together. Got the side cover on, got it full of oil, got Kickstarter back on. The only things that are missing right now is I haven't put new tubes in it. I don't have the shifter seal yet, and I don't have an air filter element, but some of those things are coming. I was not able to find the throttle cable I need, so I'm not going to be able to use the Yamaha lube pump yet. I might try and figure something out. I really wish I kept the original cable that was broken, because then I could have swapped the ends around, but you know, hindsight is 15/20 or something like that. But let's see if this actually works or not. Well, it runs and it shifts and the clutch holds. I wouldn't say it runs amazing. It seems to just completely stop at about 5,000 to 6,000 RPM sometimes in some gears. I don't know. It's a bit weird. It seems to be kind of load-based. The plug does look a little bit rich. I tried a few different mixture settings to minimal effect. I think I might need to check the reeds and pull the carb out and double check the float height. But other than that, it seems to be riding fairly well. Only thing is I have a really hard time getting it out of first gear when I'm at a stop. I don't know why, but I can't put it in neutral unless the engine's off. Don't know why that is. The clutch doesn't seem to be dragging or anything, and I can put it in neutral if I'm still rolling, so that's a bit weird, but I think we're getting pretty close on this thing. I also think I might have mixed my gas way too rich with oil, so it's about empty, so I'll put another gallon of gas in it, and I'll mix it just a little bit leaner. I don't remember what the ratios are, but I'll get some gas put in it, 2-stroke oil, and we'll see how it does then. Maybe by then I'll have some tubes and an air filter element, and I can really start tuning this thing. But I am pretty excited to be riding it. The speedometer doesn't appear to work, which is a little bit of a bummer, but whatever. This thing tops out at 60 miles an hour, so it's not like you really need a speedometer all that much. I'm happy though. This thing is so cool and it sounds neat, and oh man. It's really neat riding something with a super soft suspension like that. It's all squishy, and when you, yeah. I love stuff with long travel, soft suspension. I'm real excited to get this thing going for real. Thanks for watching.